And we're going to be talking about A Mother's Voice, which is a production that Musici and other people, the Arts Centre and Trisket Arts Centre, and lots of people are involved in. It's a production, it's an immersive, a fully immersive experience, and it's going to be talking about the mother and baby homes. And that, there's a whole story around that we've heard about. But Beth, tell me, first of all, Beth is the creative director. So Beth, tell me first of all, what is this about and why did you get involved in this?
Okay, so yeah, I suppose I had the idea during lockdown a couple of years ago. Like all of us, we sort of sat reading newspaper articles about various things, and for me, I was just getting a little bit obsessed, I suppose, with all the stories coming out around the mother and baby homes, and it was one of those news stories that was really haunting me, sort of keeping me up at night, and really wanted to do something as a human being, but you kind of feel a bit hopeless as one person. But I suppose that's where being an artist comes in, because we have this amazing platform to try and create something to tell a story. And something that really struck me through reading all these articles were how women that experience the mother and baby homes often said how they felt their voices were muted and they weren't being given a platform and no one was listening. And that really stuck with me. And quite early on in the creative process, I suppose it became really important to me to try and include actual recorded voices. There was an initial discussion with Irene Buckley, one of the composers, when I spoke to her, that maybe we'd have a soprano singing transcribed bits of interviews and stuff. But then it was like, actually, I feel like we need the actual women's voices, the mothers' voices, because it's so raw, it's their story. And I'm so grateful to the three amazing mothers that have really bravely and generously shared their stories with us. They're incredible women. And yeah.
For people watching, there might be people in the global audience watching tonight. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're talking about there at the mother and baby home?
Yeah, well, I mean, I in no way sort of count myself as any kind of expert in mother and baby homes, but throughout the 1900s, and it was kind of happened quite a lot of across the world, but particularly here in Ireland, it was a huge issue, where church and state were really sort of what's the word? Sort of incarcerating single women when they became pregnant, and if it was out of wedlock, they were sort of cast out of society, I suppose. Families weren't really given a choice, and women were placed in these mother and baby homes to give birth, and then quite often, the majority of the time, the babies were adopted. Even if sometimes these young mothers would really have liked to have preferred to have kept them, there was not really a choice. And obviously there's quite a lot of stories, unfortunately, about sort of illegal adoptions out to America, all of that. And you have to bear in mind as well, when we say young women, I mean, some of these interviews I've heard about 13-year-old girls in there, and it's really a disgrace, but it ever happened. But the fact that actually it's really not that long ago, I think that's the shocking bit. Yeah,
it's not, and it's really, it's that stigma as well, and a kind of shame, or that it is really hard for what you're really doing with this production is you're giving the mothers a voice to tell their story.
Well, yeah, that's the hope, yeah, of it. And the whole creative team involved, have just been wonderful at really keeping these women at the centre of their thoughts, when creating everything. And as well, I have to huge hats off to Triskel Arts Centre and Tony Sheehan, who's the director there, who has embraced the project right from the beginning, and again just dealt with everything with such sensitivity. And I don't think I could imagine a better partner to start off this project, to be honest.
Wonderful. So Bridget, you're the production designer. Would that be right? So you have created something really amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you ended up getting involved?
Yes, so myself and Beth know each other from some artistic residencies in Ireland, and that's where we kind of met and decided to join forces. Um, so yeah, for this project, it's been quite challenging, I guess, because of the subject matter. And as a production designer, I guess when your artistry is quite spectacle based, for this project, it's actually the opposite you want to do, because you don't want to create a spectacle out of this. You don't want to dramatize this. You want to keep it as pure to the stories and to the nature of the character of the piece.
Mhm.
So it's been quite challenging in figuring out what those creative solutions are for this production. Um, and like as Beth has mentioned already, I mean, our basis, or at least mine for sure, to work from is the 3 interviews that I've listened to over and over again. Um, and they're incredible. And the women who shared their stories are incredible. So when it comes to kind of visualizing that, we've just gone with something that's quite subtle. Um, just working with shapes, working with textiles, and just trying to create something that maybe lets the viewer and the audience decide what it is for themselves. So the installation is kind of a collective experience in a way. It's a moment, I guess, for the audience to have a little bit of time to reflect before going into the piece and before going into the music, just so it almost sets the mood and sets the tone. And that's been a big thing with the production design on this project, is kind of setting that beginning tone so
Mm.
that people can move through that, and then they're ready to sit down and listen to the music. It's not like they start listening to the music and they only get into it after 15 minutes. What we're kind of hoping to do is by the time you reach your seat and you're there, you're ready. You're ready to listen. You're ready to hear. You're ready to have that audio experience. Yeah, so that's kind of a sneak peek
So
into
what can
what's
people expect? It's taking place in the Triscuit Arts Centre in Cork. I'm just going to put the link underneath there. Triscuit Arts Centre. So if like, so what can people expect when they go to the show? They're going to go through a kind of a fully immersive experience, get into the, I suppose, get their heads ready,
Yeah,
and then
and once they get to their seat, then because the main part of the performance is this new composition for string quartet written by Cork sisters, amazing composers Irene and Linda Buckley,
lovely.
and that is string quartet with a sort of electronic soundscape and the recorded voices. And then in addition to that, we have this incredible animation that will be projected behind us. And that's been done by Ava Bartolozzo and Jack Kerwin, who are fantastic young animators here in Ireland. And again, delighted to be working with them. They've actually done a full animation based on the Mother and Baby Homes previously, and I believe that actually got longlisted for the Oscars this year. So very impressive
Wow.
young animators, yeah. So we're really, really lucky to have them on board, and yeah, just delighted really with the whole team that has embraced this and
And
created this enormous, amazing event. You know, it's great.
And you know what I love about this? The proceeds, is it all the proceeds, or
Yeah.
all the proceeds go to the One Stop Shop in Cork, and they are anyone that's over 18 that's experienced
Domestic abuse.
domestic abuse. So I think it's a really, really lovely charity, and the fact that all the proceeds go to that. So I think, folks, if you're watching, please comment. I can put your comment on the screen if you want to ask a question or anything while we're here. Please, it comes up on the chat here. But also, if anyone is watching and if you think some of your friends might be interested in this, if you just go to triskelarcentre.ie, but also there's the whole link there. I'll put it underneath there. The tickets are only €10. Is that right?
Yeah, and like you say, they're all going to charity. Which, I mean, again, hats off to Triskel because you know, not only have they massively supported the creation of this project, you know, they're not making any money from this, you know. I think they really felt the importance of supporting.
I think a lot of people got involved. Was there a hotel as well that got involved?
Yeah, so the Kingsley Hotel in Cork have been really generous and given us a few rooms, so that we can look after our star mothers that are coming and give them a bit of a treat. So we're really, really grateful to them for that. Obviously, then I have to mention the Arts Council, who have been a fantastic support to Musici Ireland in the last couple of years, and especially with this project, you know, with Triskel and the Arts Council. I mean, it wouldn't happen without that sort of support, and, you know, artists really rely on that. So we're incredibly grateful.
That's wonderful, and thank you so much for your support. So if anyone is interested, if you go to the Twitter, they're on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I don't know if you're watching, whether you're watching. I know someone is watching on YouTube. Isn't that right, Beth?
Yeah, hopefully my mom's watching.
So if anyone is interested, please spread the word first. That would be the best thing. And also, thank you so much to everybody for their support. And when is it? Tell us, everybody, when it is. Friday, isn't it? This Friday?
Yes, it's this Friday at 8 o'clock, Triskel Arts Centre. And yeah, but the performance lasts around 40 minutes. So yeah.
Okay, so that could be a really...
take your time getting through the installation, and, you know, it's a very relaxed atmosphere just to come and enjoy some beautiful music and be a part of this story.
It's lovely. That's really nice. And if anyone wants to watch, Maria says, well done, and all the proceeds go to a very good cause. It's not easy, very challenging, but I think you're approaching it in the right way, if you don't mind me saying. There you go. Nice comment from Maria. Thank you so much, Maria. I think Maria might be down that direction. But yeah, so thank you so much, ladies. Anything else you want to add before we finish up?
I don't think so. Bridget?
I think you got everything in. Just check your notes there, just in case.
Yeah.
But look, you know, this is a part of our history that isn't something that we're proud of. There is a question. Aideen, wishing you all the best of luck with this amazing project. Did you go through? Yeah, there is a question here. I don't know if you want to answer this question from Shay. What lines of inquiry guided your survivor interview process? Did you go with any specific research questions, or were the conversations more exploratory and open-ended?
That's a really good question, actually. And I mean, actually, that leads me on to one thing I can say how this started, because obviously, how did I make contact with with survivors in the first place? You know, I had no connection to any of this.
Question.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. So I actually contacted, I don't know if your viewers might know, a historian called Sinead McCool. She wrote a fantastic book called No Ordinary Women, which is all about women that were sort of written out of history in the uprising and in the Eastern Rising. And it's she's been a fantastic help. I would definitely call her my mentor in all of this. I first contacted her at least 2 years ago, I think. And she just gave me a bit of advice about who to maybe contact and how to start talking to people. And I sort of went in various different directions. I actually started, there was a wonderful lady called Margot I spoke to first of all, and she was born in a mother and baby home. And she put me onto a few other people. And then like the lockdowns really kicked in, and then it was very difficult to sort of arrange, because a lot of the mothers I'd been put in touch with were older, you know, and obviously I didn't want to be putting anyone at risk, and it's very difficult to do stuff over Zoom, blah, blah, blah. So that kind of took a back seat for a little while. And then I also had mentors, Maureen Johnston, who amazing female activist. I believe she's like 92 now, I think. But she led the journey on the train up to Northern Ireland to get contraception for the first time. She's a fantastic woman. And again, she actually put me in touch with Margot. That's how I made that first contact. And then I bit the bullet and I phoned Catherine Corliss. I was, went to the top really. And she, again, and again, absolutely lovely woman, like just so supportive of, you know, this creative process, suggested another few women. And then it just so happened I'm in Wexford, and in the local paper I saw there was a whole spread, and Deirdre Wadding, who lives locally, had shared her story in the paper. And I was like, oh wow, I'd met Deirdre at a few arts hustings before, so I actually contacted her. so it was, sorry, this is a very long-winded way of saying all this, but so Deirdre then put me in touch with Sheila and our lovely lady mother that's saying anonymous in this, and yeah, I know I'm incredibly grateful to Deirdre, really, because she's really helped me make connections, and the decision really was, I wanted to just hear their story. It wasn't an interview as such. I just wanted them to just be able to tell me in their words the experience, so obviously I gave them sort of parameters that, I really want from, how did you end up there? What was the family reaction? I was very interested in like how families dealt with what was happening, and the I suppose the fallout after the fact as well, all of that. So I really tried to leave it very open for them to just decide what they wanted to share and how they wanted to share it, which was wonderful. So, some of the interviews were probably about 2 hours long, because there's a lot to get through. And that's actually wonderful, because you really do hear, everyone's everyone's thoughts on it, their personal story. So yeah, I mean, it was really very open-ended, and when I was organizing these interviews, it was when, if you remember, like the official, sorry, it's late, my brain has gone to sleep. What's the word I'm looking for? The official, the report and everything came out. Yeah, so they'd been doing the interviews and they were destroyed. And do you remember that? So I was really shocked by that, and it I suppose made me realize even more the pressure of what we were trying to do, and I wanted to make sure that the ladies involved knew that I was respecting their story and that it was going to be looked after. So I must also thank Christor at the UCD Folklore Department, who actually archived all the recordings.
Commission of Investigation, Shay says. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shay. You're an expert, obviously, so that's great. Yeah, tired. I've got 2 little boys, and they,
You've been working on this for years, haven't you? Really?
Yeah. So it's a couple of years now. It's been a long journey. I can't believe it's actually happening this week. And yeah, I can't wait for our mothers.
Let's support everybody. Let's support Beth and everybody, and Bridget and everyone working on this, and spread the word, and maybe go along and buy a ticket. And if you want to go to the website, and the hashtag is A Mother's Voice, if you want to go and check that out on Twitter, you have lots of information there. And if you want to go to the website, it's Triskel Arts Centre .ie. So thank you very much for your comments, for joining us, folks, and taking part. And yeah, Shay is looking forward to it. So there you go. Thank you very much. Yes, so thanks, ladies, and well done, and the best of luck on Friday.
Thanks, Samantha.